Monthly update, folks, for November, which has been and gone seemingly some time ago now. We're sitting here well into December. Everything's a wee bit behind schedule. Had the old boy and my mum staying with me for a few days as they moved house. That was good. I probably should have planned some videos around Gaza, shouldn't I? May get a chance, though, because they've been told the place they've moved into could use a paint job, and the painter wants them out of the house for a week to get the job done. So I'll have Gaza and Mum here for a week in my little house at some point. So if you got any video ideas you'd like to see Gaza or potentially even my mum discuss, let me know, because they will be here at some point. Not sure when, but it's going to happen. We'll go with some stats and some thanks. We'll talk about the Crusaders getting the new stadiums at some point. Handre Pollard is on the move, and the Champions Cup, which is getting underway this very weekend. But in terms of November, man, the top videos, it's always about the All Blacks getting beaten. Ireland beat the All Blacks was one of them. France beat the All Blacks was another, but also the Rugby World Rankings for the end of the year, basically, and Sharsies saga. Those were all kind of very popular topics in November, kind of not surprising. It's always a bit of a bittersweet one. Whenever the All Blacks get beaten, it sucks for me as an All Blacks fan, but also I kind of know that video is going to get more views. It's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? But yeah, no, November was good. Plus 1,500 subs, so thanks to all you guys who have hit the subscribe button in recent times. Still, apparently, 59% of people have not, so if you want to do me a personal favor, hit that subscribe button. It always helps with YouTube's algorithm stuff to see videos getting subs and likes and all that kind of interaction stuff. It helps with YouTube's algorithm. But in terms of you lot, the majority male, 93%. Age between 25 and 34, the biggest group, but you still got 8.9% who are 65 and over, and 1.2% who are 13 to 17 years old. You've always got your own YouTube accounts. Interestingly, 11% of people use the subtitles function when watching the vids. So hopefully my auto-generated subtitles are intelligible, because I know anytime I say languages other than English, like Matthew Jalibert, that comes out pretty funny if you put the old auto-generated subtitles on. But there you go. Most viewers this month, well, last month, from South Africa number 1, UK number 2, Ireland number 3, up, Aussie number 4, and New Zealand number 5. Interestingly, in the battle between China and Taiwan as YouTube viewing regions, China 712 views, Taiwan 541. So there you go. There's a bit of an edge there. So that's some stats. I will also say thanks to you folks who were subscribing to, watching, viewing, liking. Some of those things are the same. The views, the vids in November. Bloody hell, I'm all over the shop. But also thanks to the patrons who support the channel on Patreon. We did some extra videos for Patreon in November talking about some dodgy tweets that have come about based on a video I did in 2018, which has kind of been grinding my gears. Javo, the old pitch invader, if you still remember him, back in November, he was a talking point. The All Blacks 2018 record and some other stuff as well. But yeah, thanks to the people on Patreon. If you are willing and able to support the channel on Patreon, yeah, check out the link in the description. It's just a financial support, basically. I know most people not in a position to do it, but if you are, do consider doing that. There's been a few people sign up in the month of November, so yeah, thank you to all you people. Also to Ian, Michael, and John for your support, especially in November as well. Really means a lot. But yeah, I've been doing a lot on these depth chart videos. I've done 2 so far. England's one's coming. I'm gonna get the Ireland one out soon. The depth chart videos have been pretty interesting, and that's the kind of thing that I really have had the time to do with the help of the people from Patreon, because yeah, it just means I got extra time to do that kind of stuff, because yeah, it takes ages, but hopefully the end result is kind of a bit of an interesting watch to see how these different teams are going about their depth building leading up to a World Cup. But yeah, there you go. Super Brew stuff, I should say there's going to be a Champions Cup Super Brew pool. If you guys want to sign up to do the old predictions thing, it's always a bit of fun. We had the NPC one, not to blow my own trumpet, but I won that pool. I was 3rd globally, so I did pretty bloody well in the old NPC Super Group pool here in New Zealand. For the Autumn Internationals, I didn't come first. I came 16th in my own pool, which is not too bad out of about 200 people. But it was a Frenchman by the username of Sesfu Makalou who ended up winning that Autumn Internationals pool. So well done, mate. French beat the All Blacks, and I got beaten by a Frenchman in the Super Brew pool. So there you go. Happy days. But yeah, if you want to sign up to the Super Brew for the Champions Cup, which is getting underway this weekend, yeah, there'll be a link somewhere, description, pinned comment. But yeah, there you go. What else is going on? I mean, we'll start with Champions Cup, I guess, seeing as I'm on that train. It is starting this weekend. It's been a wee bit disrupted, because some of the teams who are supposed to be competing in the Champions Cup have had guys who travelled to South Africa for the URC who've had to either stay in South Africa with COVID cases, or they have been stuck in quarantine. So yeah, the squad's affected in the Champions Cup anyway. Munster are going to have to field a pretty weakened side in their game against Wasps. But they are going to play it. That's going to be a tough ask for them. But the back line looks alright. It's going to be the forwards where they'll be struggling for depth. They're going to have to pick some academy players and whatnot. Likewise, Cardiff is going to field a pretty weakened lineup in their game against Toulouse. And Scarlets ended up conceding their one. They were supposed to play away to Bristol, but they decided to forfeit the game because they weren't able to field a proper team. So yeah, 28-0 will be their bonus point loss, a bonus point win for Bristol. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, good news to have the competition back for the most part. There's a bunch of good games on this weekend. If you're in New Zealand, Sky has got the game, so I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, there's always a feast of rugby on when the Champions Cup's going. So you got the French Premiership and the URC teams all getting together, minus the South Africans for now, but that's going to change next year. So yeah, real happy days. Super Brew pool, if you want to play, in the description. Speaking of South Africans, Handre Pollard, he's going to be on the move. He is on the move from Montpellier to Leicester Tigers next year. After his South African duties are done, he'll be starting the start of the season with Leicester. So obviously he missed the start of the season with international duties, but then he'll be joining Leicester Tigers. Direct replacement for George Ford, apparently. So it seems like it's a bit of a merry-go-round. AJ McGinty's gone from Sale to Bristol, I think. So then George Ford's going to Sale. So Pollard's going to Leicester. So there you go. It's a bit of a... yeah, it's not really a like-for-like replacement from George Ford to Handre Pollard, but they're both like international quality players. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see how he settles in. It's kind of also interesting that I think he had a pretty big offer to go to Japan, but he decided not to go to Japan, and he kind of is keen to get in the Premiership and play for a pretty well-known team like Leicester. There's a bug flying around. Get away. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how he goes. Congratulations to Leicester fans. You got a pretty good player on your hands, and yeah, it'll be fun to see how he goes in the Premiership next year. Lastly, the Crusaders are getting a new stadium. Well, long overdue, man. If you got the memory, you'll know that the Crusaders were essentially not able to use their former stadium after the earthquakes of 2011. As we say, 10 years later. So that stadium took earthquake damage and was essentially written off. So the Crusaders played like one season on the road, and then they've been playing at another ground. I think it's called Orange Theory Stadium at the moment, essentially Rugby League Park. And the stadium doesn't fit the status of a club like the Crusaders because it's essentially made of scaffolding. I went, had a look at it once. I was in the South Island during summer, so not rugby season, so there were no games on, but I went and had a look at it, and yeah, it's just scaffolding. And yeah, people tell me it's pretty bloody cold, so sometimes when the Crusaders get criticised for not getting full crowds out there, if it's a brisk night down in Christchurch, it gets pretty cold down there, and you're sitting in a stadium which is made of scaffolding, doesn't really stop any wind. I know Eden Park gets, as an Aucklander, we're pretty soft on the old weather conditions because Auckland's not that cold, but Eden Park blows a bloody gale at times as well, but I can't imagine it's as bad as a stadium literally just made of scaffolding. So yeah, the stadium is going to be finished in 2025, so it'll still be quite far away if it gets all its approvals and whatnot. It's going to be called the Canterbury Multi-Use Arena, so CMWA, I don't know, for short. It's going to seat 30,000 people on match day, which will be hard to fill for Super Rugby games, to be fair. I don't think they'll get anywhere near that. 37,000 for concerts. At least it's multi-use. It's going to have a cover on it, so that's kind of good. It'll be a nice modern stadium. It's going to cost $500 million New Zealand dollars, so $500 million plus. I'm sure it'll blow out more than that. Every stadium tends to do that, but yeah, if they can get a stadium which is fitting for the status of the club, not bloody cold like it sounds like it is at the moment, and they can use it for more than just rugby, that'll be ideal. So yeah, getting the most use out of it is the way you pay that thing back, by getting concerts and other things in there, not just rugby. So yeah, good news if they can get it done. But yeah, there we go. As I said, thanks again for you guys for watching. If you've subscribed, happy days. If you haven't, please do me a favor and do that. Patreon down in the description if you want extra content or just want to support the channel. What do you reckon about the Crusaders' new stadium? Surely it's a bit of good news if they can get it done. What do you reckon about Pollard to Leicester? A good signing? Or do you think he's not kind of the man to fill the shoes of George Ford, because they're two different players? And Champions Cup this weekend, which games are you guys looking forward to? Can you see Cardiff, Munster getting any results, or do you think their sides are just going to get smashed by potentially more than 28-0? Anyway, you guys have any thoughts? Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.